The injustice being done for Shakur Stevenson. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Make sure you guys click the link in the description to use my link to get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that you can add on. They have different packages. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years. So videos like this, I use TUBEBUDDY. Start off with 0 subscribers, over 200,000. So it's definitely made my time on YouTube that much easier. They got a lot of tools and resources that aren't directly baked into YouTube. So it takes money to make money. Y'all know I'm a big fan of that. And you got to invest in yourself. This is one great way if you have a YouTube channel, regardless of what your channel is about, the genre, TUBEBUDDY can help. Click the link in the description of all of my videos to sign up for TUBEBUDDY. Now, I wanted to make this video from the heart. Shakur Stevenson, I rate him. I've been, kept my eyes on him since I've seen, the sparring with Devin Haney back in the day, the Olympics, the Rio Olympics, 2016, I believe, the silver medal, and I paid attention, met him, interviewed him, stuff like that. And I see a gross injustice happening with Shakur Stevenson. Now, I made a video about one of the atrocities where you have Shakur, he actually looks kind of big. So I don't know how he was making featherweight towards the end, but he needed to move up. He did that, moved up, already has performances under his belt at the new weight, 130, and in his own network, ESPN, on a top-ranked card, Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton, they put a top 10 list up for top 130 pounders. They were missing 2 PBC fighters, and they're missing their own fighter, ESPN fighter, Shakur Stevenson. So I thought that was wrong. And, I'd be livid because some of the people, I'm not going to dissect it and, badmouth anybody, but some of the people that were on the list, it was like reaching. It's like people who had recent losses and stuff like that. And we know all the talent and skill possessed by Shakur Stevenson. Plus, he already moved up and put up dominant performances, right? Like the Toka Khan Clary fight, stuff like that. So at the end of the day, how is he not? I think he has 2 fights. The other guy he fought when the pandemic first started was, I believe, at that weight as well. And with all the talent, how is he not even mentioned on that particular? And this is your network's fighter. So I thought that was wrong. But beyond that, I told you, Ego Stradamus strikes again. And I keep getting it right in boxing. Sometimes I wish I wasn't right, because some of the things that I'm right with is things like this, injustices for the fighter. And I would rather be wrong, so what happens to the fighter makes more sense. You got someone as talented as Shakur Stevenson, and he is not being afforded the opportunities that he's asking for. And I just hope it doesn't get to a point where he's in the same position as Terrence Crawford or fighters like Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. I predicted this. Ego Stradamus strikes again. Listen to my old videos, check the G files. And what I'm talking about is this. You got Shakur Stevenson. He's experienced. He's learned on the job. He seems to be getting better. Like when he first came out, they said, oh, he doesn't have enough knockout power, but now he can hurt guys, stuff like that. He's got some knockouts, and he's just acclimating to his pro style. This is his second weight division. He's been calling out Oscar Valdez since featherweight. Didn't get it at featherweight. Oscar moved up, and then he just had a good performance against Miguel Berchelt, a champion, and that was his best win, and he beat him. And Shakur was at the fight, shows up. Like, man, shout out to Shakur and Devin Haney. Out of the young crop of fighters, what they're doing, I love it. They're pulling up. The guys they want to fight next, they're pulling up. Like when Ryan Garcia fought Luke Campbell, Devin Haney and Bill Haney pulled up. They was in the crowd, and they even spoke to Ryan Garcia at the end. So they're like, okay, you my mandatory now. You beat Luke Campbell. So they're like, what's up? Like, what's good? There's other times where Devin Haney hopped in the ring after Ryan Garcia's victories. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. It's like you want to network in the business world. What do? You go to places where there's similar-minded people, You're looking for a job, you go to a job fair. And that's what, if your profession is a fighter, you're a prize fighter, and you're looking for that prize, then where do? You go to the fights. That's what Shakur Stevenson is doing. You know, he went to Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez, and he made it very, very public that he wants smoke with Oscar Valdez since the last division they were in together. But the gross injustice is this is all being overlooked, and for whatever reason, you know, people are looking past that fight, and there's no pressure for the fight except for people like me, you know, advocating because I want to see the best versus the best. There's a lot of fake people in boxing, and they say, oh, I want the best versus the best. Yeah, you want it on your own time. Like if it's a fighter you don't like, or you think a fighter you don't like will lose, then now you want to see the best versus the best. But it's not at all times. Me, I always want to see the best fights that can be made. And it's sad because Shakur Stevenson is on the same side as Oscar Valdez. They're both with Top Rank, both on ESPN. Both, to my knowledge, have multiple fights left on the Top Rank contract. You know, Oscar Valdez having a title shot with Berchelt, he might have even had to renew or extend his pact with Top Rank. And, you know, people are looking past it. I see people asking for Jamel Herring and Oscar Valdez. But what about Shakur? Those two already have belts as a unification. I get it. But a fight I would rather see is Shakur versus Valdez, and then the winner can unify with Jamel Herring. You know, Jamel Herring, like a couple days from his victory, so he probably needs some time to rest. You know, why not make Shakur and Oscar Valdez? But you see Shakur being completely put on the back burner, and we've seen this before. Guillermo El Chicao Rigondeaux, Demetrius Andrade, Devin Haney, you know what I mean? And certain guys, people say whatever they want about your style. Beat that style, rid the world of that style so nobody has to watch it anymore. But instead of doing that, people know you're a threat, so they try to, you know, in essence, kind of blackball you and never give you the opportunities until you keep knocking down doors and then finally, you know, get an opportunity. Or if you show vulnerabilities or lose or almost lose, you know, then people are down to fight you because you look a little bit more human. So far, Shakur Stevenson hasn't really showed 100% of what he can do, and he hasn't had to. And he hasn't showed a lot of flaws in his fight game that people can easily exploit. So as a result, he's a dangerous out and a dangerous option. Strong, you know, thinking mind, experience, amateur experience, hungry, looks pretty disciplined. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like he's being left out of the equation. And it's just sad, bro, because this always happens. You got people get to fight Canelo like Avni Yildirim before David Benavidez. You know what I mean? You got guys talented as Shakur Stevenson, and likely Valdez won't have to fight him next. You know what I mean? Or even giving Shakur the Jamel Herring fight because he's ranked with the WBO. Give him that fight, and then he fights Jamel Herring, and then the winner fight Valdez. You know, so you could slice it either way you slice it. That would be a good look. But more than likely, they'll probably try to make Oscar Valdez versus Jamel Herring and just leave Shakur Stevenson in the cold. Hope I'm wrong, but we'll see how it plays out. Let me know what you guys think. Use my link, TUBEBUDDY, we working.